Clearly, Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance went all the way over some people's heads. But what if I were to tell you that was the whole point? Judging by Twitter, the American people need to work on their ability to recognize symbolism. Samuel L. Jackson introduced Kendrick Lamar dressed up as Uncle Sam. Now, this is tough because his name's Sam and he's older, so Uncle Sam, Unc Sam. But also, the term Uncle Sam is a metaphor for the American government and the American people. So that's who he's representing. Keep that in mind. After Kendrick performed Squabble Up, the camera pans over to Uncle Sam, and he's visibly angry. He tells Kendrick, screaming, to tighten up, and that's because Squabble Up is a song derived from violence and rooted in West Coast culture, which is not the music that the American people want to hear. Symbolism. A few songs later, Kendrick brings SZA out, plays the mega hits, Luther, All the Stars. Uncle Sam says something to the effect of, "Here we go, that's more like it, this is what the people want to hear." Remember, Uncle Sam represents the American people, and if you were watching the halftime show, then it was clear. The crowd reacted more to those songs. That is not a coincidence, rather it was done by design. It was the entire point. So if you're one of those people on Twitter talking about that show was ass, my question to you would be, how does it feel to be made fun of on national TV and have no idea what was going on?
Wake up. That halftime performance was a message. He did that for us. Now, some of y'all missed the message because y'all was too busy talking about Drake, okay? Listen, when he said the culture was being divided, 40 acres and a mule, do y'all understand that that was a promise that was never fulfilled? When he said they rigged the game, but you can't fake influence, when that man said the revolution is being televised, when he had the U.S. flag full of black and brown people, and then it divided, when that man said it is bigger than music, he also told y'all to turn the televisions off, and y'all didn't understand. Y'all kept watching. Listen, Kendrick understood the assignment, and he said, right time, wrong guy. They not like us. Listen, I need my people to get it together because y'all missed it. Y'all missed it.
He said, the revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. And then in the lights, in the crowd, it said, warning, wrong way. That was amazing. I have not even scratched the surface of all of the political symbolism in that performance, but he did it. In the end, the lights said game over. Turn the TV off. He's sending a message. Turn that TV off. Stop participating in the fucking pomegranates.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Robbie Masaga. Today I want us to dive into one of the most controversial Super Bowl halftime performance in recent years, Kendrick Lamar's performance at Super Bowl. Some people call it boring, some were disappointed, but others, especially within the Black community, argue that Kendrick Lamar was delivering a powerful message that many didn't just understand. So what really happened? Did people miss the point? Was the performance a masterpiece of symbolism, or did it fail to connect with the audience? Well, let's break it together, but first let me share a few videos here, then let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about Kendrick Lamar's performance.
People saying how Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance was so symbolic and then not explaining the symbolism is why the symbolism in his Super Bowl performance is so impactful. So let's break this down. First, Uncle Sam is Samuel Jackson in this show. Throughout the course of the show, he either praises Kendrick for how he behaves or he scolds Kendrick on how he is not behaving properly. And at one point, he actually says, gamekeeper, deduct one life. And that is a symbol of how Black people are specifically treated in this country, where if you don't behave properly by code switching or being palatable, then you're going to be chastised in the United States as a Black person. But then we get introduced to the dancers. The dancers are all in sweatsuits, and the sweatsuits at one point becomes a configuration of the American flag. And during that part, he is actually in the middle of those dancers as he's performing. Even though the colors come together to form the American flag, it's actually the sweatsuits which stuck out to me the most. And someone else pointed this out, I'll tag her, and she said that the sweatsuits were very similar to those in Squid Games. And if you remember in Squid Games, the game players are wearing sweatsuits depending on their status in the game. But everyone essentially was playing towards the big pot of money at the end, and they were willing to fight each other to win said money. And as more people started to die throughout Squid Games, there was more money available for the winners at the end of the game. Now, Squid Games is actually a symbolism of capitalism and how when people at the bottom specifically continue to fight each other in the hopes of winning the money or the pot of gold at the end of said game, that no one actually wins. So in my opinion, him dancing in between the American flag is, yes, a symbolism of how the country is divided, but because all the colors are kind of mixed in together, it just shows that people of different socioeconomic statuses are still divided regardless of their political party. But then we get to the stage configuration, and that turns out to be a game controller. And who is the controller? The United States. But during one of the songs, the camera is in the middle and he is dancing at each different part of the X. And to me, that was a symbol that each specific group or demographic, so you could think of maybe races or ethnicity, are in their communities but only focus on each other, and every now and again we'll look to see what the other is doing, but no one's actually working together. And then at the end of the performance, he performs Not Like Us, which he has been advised by other major A-list celebrities to not perform this song. Why? Because the Super Bowl is not supposed to be a political type of stunt for the United States. It's strictly for the purpose of entertainment, right? Because in the United States, when you're under capitalism, the way to keep people distracted essentially is by entertaining them through forms of TV, through music, through movies, all of these things. So at the end, when he's like, oh, am I gonna do it? I'm gonna do it. And then he ends up performing the song. Everyone's like, oh, he's dissing Drake again. Girl, this is more than just Drake, okay? Wake up. And then you see Serena Williams coming out doing a crip walk. And if you remember, Serena was fined and scolded publicly for doing this at one of her tennis matches, even after she won. And her having a moment on this stage, and also Kendrick saying the revolution will be televised and you picked the right time but the wrong guy, is really a symbol of people, specifically people of influence, which he refers to in his speech at one point. People of influence speaking and talking and acting in accordance to their values, regardless of what the entertainment industry or the bigger higher ups or whatever want them to do. And then we get to the very end when he says, turn this TV off, multiple times. Why? Because again, the Super Bowl is one of the most televised events and the most watched events throughout the entire year, which is a distraction for most Americans who are at the bottom of the totem pole, that are really just trying to distract themselves from what they have to do in their everyday lives, which is go to work and work for pennies and, fight each other for just a simple raise. So altogether now, Game Over at the very end of the Super Bowl performance is a symbol of people actually coming together to not only start, but withhold and run a revolution. So as a summary here, the reason why everyone needs to know this is because the revolution cannot happen if everyone does not know about it and participate and stick to their guns throughout the course of said revolution. Thank you and good night.
White people, I want to give y'all a quick shout out. Black people, y'all could stay too. Matter of fact, y'all need to stay because y'all embarrassing yourselves in front of company. So y'all need to hear this. For tonight and tonight only, white people have separated themselves into exactly two parts. Perfect overt racism and perfect understanding of what Kendrick Lamar did. I have not seen one confused white person. I have not seen one white person say, it was boring, it was bad, it was mid. I've only seen them say all the bad stuff because Kendrick Lamar did what he did, or they're so enamored to the point where they're explaining 40 acres and a mule to black people. Which apparently needs to be done because there are black people who are confused about what they saw. And for that, I'm confused for y'all. This man got the NFL to pay for a protest, and y'all are confused about what he did. You want a karaoke? He got the NFL to pay for a protest. And y'all wanted bops? You wanted to sing along to every lyric? You were confused about Samuel L. Jackson. The minute Samuel L. Jackson pulled him and his top hat out, you should have clocked it. You should have known what time he was on. Matter of fact, the minute they told you Kendrick Lamar was performing, you should have known what type of time he was going to be on. But say you didn't know. The minute he said the revolution will be televised, you should have known. The minute you saw all black people on the stage, you should have known. It was not a performance, it was a protest. What do y'all not understand?
That was a statement, not a performance. And so many people are missing it by saying worst performance in Super Bowl history when it was so much more than that. The symbolism. He literally said, this is bigger than music. Like, are y'all missing it? Are y'all missing the point here? Uncle Sam being Samuel L. Jackson, telling everyone to stay in line and that's what they want. And all the other iconic cameos which described minority struggles with being seen as too abrasive whenever they're just fighting for their freaking rights. Kendrick saying, the revolution about to be televised, you picked the right guy at the wrong time, which is a nod to Gil Scott-Heron, who said the revolution won't be televised. The people standing in a formation of the American flag, which was split in half during Humble. Like, how are y'all missing it? And then the lights in the crowd lighting up to say, warning, wrong way, with the American flag beside it, which just symbolizes America going backwards. Like, come on. Not to mention the smirk when he said, hey Drake, and his necklace being the music note A minor. I know I'm not the right messenger for this, but honestly, it was just pure art. The amount of time that he had to put this together in is insane, and he absolutely killed it. And you cannot change my mind.
Going into Super Bowl halftime show, a lot of people expect a high energy and flashy performance. You know, something explosive, like what we've seen in the past Super Bowls. Dancers, fireworks, big name collaborations. But Kendrick Lamar took a completely different approach. Instead of focusing on mainstream entertainment, he delivered something deep, international and politically charged. And let's be honest, not everyone was ready for that. From the stage setup to the song choices, every detail seemed carefully orchestrated to make a statement. But if you were not paying close attention, it was easy to miss. One of the most talked about aspect of the performance was the symbolism, because Kendrick never does anything without any meaning. Kendrick's performance opened with none other than Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, a character long associated with the US government propaganda. This is not just for show. Many believe this was Kendrick critiquing the American system, questioning what patriotism really means, especially for Black people in America. Think about it. Black people have contributed so much to America, but are still fighting against oppression, racism, and systemic inequality. Another powerful moment was when the dancers formed a divided American flag on stage. This was clearly a visual representation of America's current state, divided by race, politics, and power. We are living in a time where racial tension are high, political division is extreme, and social justice issues are constantly in the spotlight. Kendrick put that reality front and center in his performance, but instead of making it obvious, he let the visual do the talking. Some people may have just seen it as an artistic choice, but let's be real. This was Kendrick's way of saying America is broken and we need to talk about it. Most Super Bowl performances rely on big hits that everybody knows, but Kendrick, he didn't just go for the crowd pleasure. Instead, he performed tracks from his latest album, including Bodies, a song that talks about violence and oppression faced by Black people in America. Squabble Up, a track about self-awareness, unity, and the struggle of the Black community. These weren't just songs, these were statements, they were message for Black people. But let's be honest, the average Super Bowl viewer isn't breaking down Kendrick's lyrics or looking for deeper meaning. A lot of people probably just heard the beats and thought, this isn't fun, this isn't exciting, and that is exactly why so many people missed the message. Now, let's talk about the big debate that starts after the show. Some fans, especially on social media, expressed disappointment, saying the show lacked energy, that it wasn't Super Bowl worthy. Some even called it boring. But here's the question, was it actually boring, or was it just something that mainstream audience weren't ready for? Black culture is often scrutinized, misunderstood, and labeled as too much when it challenges the status quo. And that is exactly what happened here. Some people weren't engaged, not because the performance lacked meaning, but because they weren't the intended audience. Another huge moment from the performance was when Kendrick performed Not Like Us, a track that takes shots at a fellow rapper Drake. Now, on the surface, this might seem like just a beef, but if you really look deeper, this was about more than just industry drama. This is about authenticity in hip hop, cultural appropriation, the power struggle between real artistry and industry gimmicks. Kendrick wasn't just dissing Drake, he was making a statement about the music industry, about real versus fake, about who truly represents hip hop culture. Again, there was a message, but did people catch it? So, after all said and done, was Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show a failure or a masterpiece? If you are expecting a hyped up over the top performance, then sure, maybe you are disappointed. But if you really watched, listened, and understood, then you know this was bigger than just a show. Kendrick Lamar used his platform to highlight the struggle of Black Americans, critique the state of the country, address division, oppression, and culture. And unfortunately, many people completely missed it. But now, I want to hear from you. Did you catch the deeper message in Kendrick's performance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. Yeah, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, stay safe.